see them yesterday before we played last night, and they're just, they are by far, I think, the best team in Massachusetts, and they've proven that. They're 20-0. They beat the number 2 ranked team a few days ago by 17 points. Also a very, very good team in Bridgewater, Raynham. So we have our work cut out for us, to say the least. They're big, they're seasoned, they share the basketball, they're a real team, they're very poised, and we're on the road, which makes it even more difficult. So, but we scheduled that game 6, 7, 8 months ago for a reason, and we wanted a really, really stiff, great test down the stretch, because again, we've always subscribed to the theory that those tough games, kind of mixed in throughout the season, really help us get prepared for what's going to come in March. And I think Thursday will be a great example of that.
Dribble penetration, they get a kick. We can either send that kid there, or whoever's guarding the ball, we just keep on going through it if you prefer that. So that's the thing. The ball is coming in off of dribble penetration. It's the same rule. Wherever the ball originates from is the kid who's going to go and set the trap. Who's going to run the jump.
They're a lot like us. They like to play fast-paced. They do have some height that we don't have, so we've been working on ways in practice how we're going to double the post, double the guard so they can't get it into the post. They have a 6'3" girl, so we only have Addie and Meg. Those are our tallest players. So we've been working on ways on how we can try to use our speed and our athleticism to counter their height.
We know we're gonna go on runs. They're gonna go on runs. They're both pretty evenly matched, but we're kind of just focusing more on their big because she is 6'5" and probably 200 pounds heavier than our biggest kid. So we're kind of just lots of ball pressure and basically make it hard for the guards to get it to her and try our best to not let her catch it. So basically just a lot of pressure and a lot of high tempo, just stuff like that.
That they have a very, very big 6'5" girl, and that she'll turn and shoot once she gets it in the post. And our plan so far is that we have to front the post and we have to have really good help and we have to kind of double from the weak side. And I think that that's a big piece, is trusting each other and trusting our communication throughout the process of the game and not letting her kind of get the ball in the middle. And we need really good ball pressure up on the top of the guards and stuff. So I think that's just, it's definitely going to be a game to watch.
Whether we go and beat them by 15 or we beat them by 2 or we lose by 2 or we beat them by 2, I think we'll be set that we're all going to be in the right mindset to realize that we still have the rest of the season to play. We still have playoffs, and that one game isn't going to affect those games. So we really need to just come back out, get off that win or loss, and keep playing our game and realize that we can still win in New Hampshire.
Getting down on ourselves, if we lost, we would be more okay, we just lost our game, so we need to come back and show people that just because we lost a game doesn't mean we're going to sit down and pout about it for the next 3 games. And if we do win, obviously we'd be happy about it, but I think we would turn the page the next day at practice and realize, hey, we still have a season to go. So it obviously would make us a little down, oh, that's our first loss, but they are a good team, so if we do lose, it's hopefully because we did everything right and they just outplayed us.
I think us older girls are definitely already kind of mentally we're okay. And I think that we've had plenty of losses in our time and we've had plenty of wins in our time. And I mean, we're the winningest set of seniors, I guess, that we've had. And, but we still kind of hold each other to a very high standard that if we don't kind of hold each and every one of us to that standard, then it's like kind of not our style of play. So I think that mentally we all kind of have it in us, and I think that we just all have to do it in our own way and do our jobs, and then once we do that, all the work will show throughout the rest of the games.
Somebody has got to come and pick the ball up right now.
So much basketball here now and have been used to that kind of an environment that, you know, whether it's a buzzer beater kind of game or we win or lose by 10, 12, 15, I think the kids recognize it for what it is. It's an opportunity to go play a really good basketball team in a tough environment, see where we are, and just an opportunity to really grind and compete. But like they do with every game, you know, they kind of put it in perspective at this point. You know, they take the good with the bad, and they learn from it, and they move on. Who knows what's going to happen? But, you know, well, look, we're going to do what we do. We're going to prepare the way we always prepare. We're not going to drastically change what we do. We're going to be us, and we'll see how we do.
So we're going to have one front and one kind of play behind, so hopefully when she turns, you're kind of just there in her way. So basically just do your best to stand in front of her and make them throw a tough pass over your head and do your best to push her out, get around you. But she's a good player, so she's going to make good plays, so you just got to do what you got.
Yeah, I did kind of cancel out. I mean, obviously, like, rebounding and all that was a little difficult, but I think it was a pretty even match considering, like, the size and the skill and the speed and everything, so...
With their height and our speed, it definitely weighed itself out. We just knew that we had to go in, and every loose ball needed to be ours, and we just had to box out and just go once we got the ball, because they got back pretty well, but most of the time we could beat them down the floor. That were big other than just the 1'6'5" girl. So we just had to stick to our game plan. We had our defense mapped out where like we're gonna have extra help on the big girl. We just have to be aware of the other girls that can shoot and also play in the post. They had a very dynamic team where they could all shoot, they could all get to the rim. So I think just playing lockdown defense was good. On the bench, it's just like a kind of feeling unless like you're really tired. But I got cleared yesterday to play, so I went in. I felt fine during warm-ups, and then
I just took a wrong step during the game and just went down. And thank goodness Brad and my mom said I couldn't go back in. It's probably the best bet because today I'm not feeling so hot.
Hannah is one of our best players, so seeing her go down is hard. We definitely needed her in that game to have our strong core group, but I think we did a good job coming out after that little break and realizing that we still have the rest of the game to play. We still need to stick to our game plan, play how we always do, play intense defense, and keep going.
For 32 minutes, but for chunks of time we were able to get out in transition, use our speed, get up and down the floor, and get some stuff in transition. You saw that in the second quarter when we kind of spurted on them. I think we went 11-0 on them, got ourselves up 5 or 6, and so forth. disappointing to say the least. You know, they're pretty darn competitive bunch from top to bottom. So sometimes you don't have to say a thing. You know, they took it as a bit of a challenge. We had some young kids step up and play a lot of minutes for us in an extremely competitive situation. I thought they handled themselves beautifully.
I think we played a great game, though. I think that the way our transition happened between getting back on the big girl and switching off of her, and between like adding Megan and I on the like weak side, I think it was just great.
In the third and fourth quarter where we got out in transition, but then the reverse was true too. Is that they were able to slow the game down a little bit, particularly in the fourth quarter, get into their half court stuff and really make us defend their size, which that's as big a team as we've seen all year long, and certainly as big a team as we'll see coming down the stretch. And the big kid in the middle, just a dominant force. But I thought our kids did a pretty good job on her all in all.
it was definitely a good shot, and yeah, it would have been nice if it went in, but it was a hard shot. I know she had someone on her, so.
We definitely wanted to see that go down, give ourselves a 3-point lead going into like 30 seconds left in the game. But some shots go down, some shots don't, so we just had to keep playing defense, keep playing. We played the big girl so she didn't get the ball in their last possession. We just have to get out to shooters, but I think we played good, intense defense and stuck to what we wanted to do through the
They made a baseline out of bounds play with 15 seconds, hit a tough shot, contested too. And, we had something drawn up, and they just did a heck of a job defending it, and they made a play. We didn't make a play, and that's what happens in really competitive games.
I think that this game was, probably the biggest game we'll have all season. And I think that the size that they gave us and the playing against those teams, I don't think we're going to see a team like that come forward the rest of the season. And I think that that's a big piece in getting us to where our next level and, kind of keep pushing ourselves. And, yesterday in the game, it was just, legs. Just keep running the floor. And I think that was just, that was huge. And the amount of times we run in practice, it was, never ending. And it felt like the game was almost like that. So I think that we had enough legs under us to keep going, and it just came down to our last shots.
Huge, because usually we don't get that kind of competition. So kind of refreshing our brains, kind of being able to play up at that level, that speed and everything, playing against good girls, it gave us a confidence boost. I think because we did play really well against them, and I think that it'll get us our mindsets clear for our competition.
We definitely learned from it. I mean, we know we're not going to win every game, even though we were undefeated and we went undefeated last year. I mean, we know we're not, the perfect team that's going to win every single game. So definitely shows us that, there's still good teams out there near us and we still have good competition locally. But, yeah, and we learned from it because, we need to really know how to stay focused and locked in those end-of-game situations when there's only a 1-point difference going back and forth. So it definitely will be beneficial when we have playoffs and stuff because you never know how those games are going to go. So it almost gave us a practice for when that's the end of game scenario when you're down by 1 or up by 1. So it was good for that.
Very helpful going into playoffs. It's a completely new season. Everyone is 0-0. You lose, you're out. So I think any game can be close. You really just have to be ready for anything. So having that experience of playing in a close game at the end, having to draw up plays, having to execute with a minute left is very helpful to have that behind us. We could see what we needed to work on in the next few weeks before playoffs starts, and so we can get better in case that happens.
Yeah, definitely. The freshmen definitely stepped up yesterday. Brooke and Meg, Maisie, Kaylee, even Molly, they just came in off the bench and they knew what they had to do, and with me going down, they had to step up, and I'm super proud of all of them for what they did yesterday.
From first game of the year till now, it's just you can see the change, and I never really realized it until you kind of reflect on games like this where we're so close that like it came down to like if we played them another 5 minutes, there's a whole new ball game. So I think that's just it was a good game.
In particular, such an impressive group. You can see why they're by far, kind of the odds-on favorite to win it down in Massachusetts, and just a great day for us. It's a loss, which, that stung all the way through to today's practice and so forth, and so forth. So you never like to see that. Very, very quiet bus ride home. But when you get a little bit of distance from it and a little bit of perspective, at least from a coach's perspective, I could not think of a better way for us to, start to get ourselves geared up for, the next 3 weeks.